In a few moments, you will have an experience which will seem completely real. It will be the result of your subconscious fears transformed to your conscious awareness. You have 5 seconds to terminate this tape. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is happening and what's cracking, everybody? How's it going tonight? Thank you again for joining me for another BG-Cast Wednesday live podcast. Guys, this is the last live show of season 2. Yes, season 2 will come to a close January 2nd. And guys, I'm real excited to be here. And I do need the break, though. Trust me, I've been working hard behind the scenes right now on season 3. I got a whole bunch of guests booked up until March. I'm still looking for guests for April, May, and so forth. But also, I got a whole bunch of really cool solo show topics I will be breaking down for you guys. But nonetheless, I'm excited. I'm happy, man. We have 2 years of BG-Cast at this point. I did not even think myself that this was going to still be going on 2 years later. I gotta say I'm grateful and I'm thankful, man. This has been a very awesome and magnificent ride. I wouldn't change a thing. And that's the best thing I can say, man, because I've met so many cool people. So many cool, real human beings, man. I've had all of these cool conversations, all of these experiences. I have learned so much, not just about myself, but I've learned together with you guys. And that's what's important, and that's what BG-Cast is all about. But nonetheless, I have some closing stuff I'll say after this episode. Speaking of really cool people I've met throughout these 2 years, I have 2 of them sitting with me tonight. We're going to have a great time. Guys, you've seen Urban, you've met Urban. Let's bring Urban on real fast. What is up, man? It's good to have you here.
Hey there, how's it going? I'm glad to be back. It's been a hell of a year, it really has. Every time I come back, something insanely mind-blowingly new and something that comes in and just destroys the whole narrative that you were working with before. So there's always something new to talk about.
Oh, dude, you're telling me, man. And this is going to be a good time tonight. Trust me. And guys, I have a fan of the show, and he is actually a witness to these drones in New Jersey that everybody's talking about, because the title of the show tonight is Bombing Bluebeam. And, I have some very interesting things to say about that also. But, dude, I am so grateful he is here. Let's bring Sean onto the stage. What is up, man? Thank you for being here tonight.
What's up, brother? I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you both. Thank you, anyone who's watching and listening. Appreciate you all.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome. So, guys, nonetheless, I think the both of you can agree with me when I say this. It's almost as if 2024 has been the year of the conspiracy gold mine. At this point. And we have had all of this stuff come to the surface. Now, you guys who have watched my show for a little bit, you know how I feel about certain things, but nonetheless, we have what it looks like at this point in time. This conspiracy that I've known about ever since my awakening occurred in 2008. Yes, that's how long this has been talked about. That could be coming to fruition. Project Bluebeam. We don't know if that's what's happening, but for sure, I'm going to say it looks like that's what they're attempting at this point. So, for some of you who don't know what that is, I'm going to bring up a really quick Rational Wiki article on Project Bluebeam and just and you want to know what's funny, you two, is people were assassinated for investigating this. And this is something that's going to come up in this article, which I had no idea, but apparently 2 Canadians were assassinated looking into Project Bluebeam. So let's bring it up real quick. It just goes to show when people end up dying, there's potentially something to it. So we got Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory which claims that NASA is attempting to implement a new age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via a technologically simulated second coming. The allegations were presented in 1994 by Cubicoist journalist and conspiracy theorist Serge Manost, and later published in his book Project Bluebeam NASA. Proponents of the theory alleged that Manost and another unnamed journalist, who both died of heart attacks in 1996, were in fact assassinated, and that the Canadian government kidnapped Manost's daughter in an effort to dissuade him from investigating Project Bluebeam. The project was apparently supposed to be implemented in 1983, but it didn't happen. It was set for implementation in 1995 and then 1996, and it still didn't happen. Finally, Manas thought that Project Bluebeam would be brought to fruition by the year 2000. And well, you can probably guess the rest. But nonetheless, guys, let's get some thoughts here. Really quick, John, if you don't mind starting off, because I know that you've actually witnessed these and you've seen something out there in New Jersey. So if you don't mind, let's kind of hear a little bit of what you saw and what you experienced, because you are one of the only people that I know personally at this point in time who has experienced this. And it's really cool that you have. So yeah, why don't you enlighten us just a little bit?
Well, start off, Project Bluebeam annoys the shit out of me. I believe we've been given a nice word to dismiss uncertainty, and I've been watching it happen day after day with people who don't do what we do or look at what we look. So they have this word to dismiss something that's far greater than they're prepared to accept, right? So personally, I had to get it out of the way.
No, all good.
Dude, the drones are fucking real. They're here. I've seen them all the time. I saw some last night. They're clearly man-made, propeller-driven. I believe there's more than one kind out there. They're lit up as an aircraft would need to be lit up to not be hit, to be identified. Apparently, people know a lot more about them than I do, right? So people have studied them, studied what they admit, what they don't admit, what can be done with them, what cannot be done. But I've seen them. Everybody I know has seen them. We've watched them fly over our heads. Clearly man-made. They're like giant atomic Roombas, just kind of back and forth and around. And where I live specifically, there hasn't been these giant parades of drones, except for a couple of days. Last Thursday, it was the heaviest day. Like our ring reports were just coming out every 5 seconds. Neighbors reporting it, seeing things. It's real. It's real, and it's happening. I don't know exactly what they are, but it doesn't feel good.
When did it start? I'm sorry to interrupt, but when did you start seeing them?
People in New Jersey have been seeing them since, they say, about November, right? Specifically in the Northwest, right? I'm in the Northeast. It's not a very big state, right? 2 hours drive west. I'm at the end. I'm going into Pennsylvania. But the West and a big swath through the middle down towards the ocean has been the heaviest hit, it seems, right? But we have a Picatinny arsenal. We got mines. We got all sorts of places for these things to just crawl out of, be hidden. We got underground bases. I'm sure of it. I found something out when I was younger. But it's all there. So I've seen them here. We've had busy days, not busy days, but generally there's always a few, and you'll see them popping around. It's tricky to know what they are unless you've watched aircraft. We have a very heavy traffic right here. There's 4 airports, so we know what airplanes look like. We know what helicopters look like, and these fly a little bit like a helicopter. They're smaller, left to right. You see the 1 light lower, 2 lights higher, flashing, and they're all doing the same thing. So everybody's seeing them. We're not all crazy.
No, real. Definitely not.
I could throw a rock at it and hit it half the time. They fly at different heights. You can see them starting to come in just before the sun sets, right? It's still, pink, right? Saw one over my head yesterday, just flying down a hill, right over my head. Sometimes they seem louder, sometimes they don't. I don't know what that's about. That might be nothing. So they're there. We see them every day, man. I could talk for a while, but yeah, go ahead.
That's interesting, man. I'm glad you're here to confirm that, because like one of the biggest things, when we see at least media stories nowadays is, we kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt. And it is good to have you
Absolutely.
here. Yeah, it is good to have you here to have some kind of confirmation on that. Now, my question. So let me get Josh real quick.
Before I've seen a lot
Yeah.
more than drones. Just so before we head
Oh,
on, you go ahead, but I have to let you know it's drones and there's more than drones. That's 100% what's going on.
okay. Well, real quick before I hop to Josh, what other things have you seen? And my question is this too: have they been seen with the drones, or have they been separate sightings?
Separate.
That's definitely separate. Okay. But what kind of other things have you experienced there? Because it's seeming like
Bro.
this is turning out to be a hotspot.
Bro, it's like fucking Star Wars here. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you have the drones, they're low, but you have lights. I mean, I'm sure both of us have seen videos over the years. We've been pouring through, documentation of what people see, right? And a lot of what people have seen, we're seeing, right? So I've seen personally, I've seen some cool shit, but a lot of blinking lights, the ones that are, they shimmer and they kind of move around. They'll group together, they'll split, and these seem high up, but who knows? Who knows how big they are, right? I told you I put a trail cam up overlooking. It's in Alpine, New Jersey, so it's a ridge and it's overlooking a giant swath of Bergen County. 3 days of footage, 3 nights. Sorry, right? The things I found on that, bro. I saw a ship that no clouds in the sky. It was like a giant cigar. It had to be like 40 miles long. God knows how far away, right? Just zipping through the sky slowly with a couple little orbs flying around it. Those blinking lights popping up everywhere. I have on the trail cam too these triangles that pop up out in the distance, and they'll just like materialize and dematerialize, and some others will gather and they'll come together. And dude, one of them gets so bright it just shines up the whole area. This is a good distance, right? I have no idea how far. So the triangles and the same spot night after night coming back, and then you'll see them move around, sometimes leave. Streaks through the sky. Like I've seen comets, I've seen, even meteor showers. We've had one the other day. I saw 2 meteors then coming from all sorts of other directions. I've seen streaks, like you could barely see them. They're so quick. I've seen those before. Things like this. I can go on, right? But there's a lot happening here. There's a lot. And I swear to you, it's happening all over the world. We're just looking out. We're just paying attention because we got,
No, definitely, man. No, and it's interesting to hear your perspective and your story on that because, I never knew New Jersey to, it's funny because a lot of my whole family's from New York and northern New Jersey. So, so I've been up that way. I've been there. It's been a while since I've been there. And, but no, man, I did not know it was this much of a hotspot. So Urban, I want to kind of pick your brain on this because, we talked about some potential theories as to what could be going on too. And I mean, one of the biggest things that we talked about is even these drones could be real, but they could be a distraction from something. And you and I have always bounced this idea back and forth. But let's hear in your words what you feel that this incident could be distracting us from as well.
Well, honestly, the reason that I kind of always take that position, or at least entertain it, is there was a whistleblower, John Todd Collins, from supposedly one of the 13 bloodlines, and he said very clearly, he said multiple times, he said, whenever you see something in the news, let's take, for instance, a law that's getting ready to be passed or that they're debating, whenever they're talking about a law on the news, you need to ignore that, and you need to look at what they're not telling you about. What are they not telling you about? What has not made it onto the news? So really, that's kind of the direction I'm going here. I actually did not know this was all the way back to like the 1990s, which is interesting. I think that any project like this has to evolve over time. I mean, they can't run a script from the 1990s in 2024. And this, there's so many different permutations that they have to plan for. So it's bound to change. I'm just wondering, the thing that I'm wondering, I live in Ohio. So I've heard whispers that they might be around here. I haven't seen one yet, but I'm wondering why it is so heavy in New Jersey, New York. That's a big question that I would like answered. And then I know, Sean, you said that there's different things out there, and I'm wondering because it seems like some people are posting videos of airplanes and they're like, oh, it's a drone. It's just an airplane. Some people are seeing just mysterious sightings, and who knows what it is. And then some people are just seeing absolutely insane, like otherworldly stuff out there. So there's layers to this whole thing, and there's so many questions to this whole thing. There's something up, and I think all of us can agree 100% on that. Something's up because we knew this was going to happen long ago. But and it seems like election day was the trigger. That's my guess, is that election day was the trigger to begin this whole thing.
You know what's really interesting as you were talking, man. So I looked up like the occult history of New Jersey, because when we have
great idea.
when we have these
weird, bro. It's a weird state. We got a lot.
It is, man. I'm with you. It is.
Portals and shit.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, man. And freaking well, no, this actually proves what you're saying. So we have a little bit of an occult history of New Jersey here, which I had to look up real quick because, so we have the New Jersey's occult history includes the Jersey Devil, the Ku Klux Klan, and other occult practices. So, I mean, we got the Jersey Devil. A lot of you all have heard that. It is a supposed cryptid that does exist. The story is that the Jersey Devil was the 13th child of Deborah Leeds, also known as Mother Leeds. After discovering she was pregnant with her 13th child, Leeds cursed the child, and it was born a deformed flying horse with a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail. We know the KKK has had activity in New Jersey. We have witchcraft. So there is actually New Jersey's large unfamiliar land and indigenous population that died out under mysterious circumstances, created a fertile environment for occult practices. So this is the one thing, and I'm just bringing this up because one of the common things that we see in a lot of these places that we see UFO sightings too is we see a lot of other paranormal sightings. We see a lot of other things. So that's very interesting to me, when we look at the occult history of New Jersey and we see that there is this kind of interesting air to the state itself. I mean, at that point, you can kind of jump up and be like, yeah, it's maybe makes a world of sense that we're also experiencing this here. Now, one thing I'm curious about, Sean, if you don't mind elaborating, has anybody gotten a hold of one of these things yet? Potentially, has anybody? No one has. Okay, because I know
no. To my knowledge, like I mean, God knows what the fuck is like. There's a good Facebook page, New Jersey Drones. New Jersey Drone Mystery, let's solve it, or something like that. Started out with about 5,000 people when I was on there. Last time I checked, it was over 50. Footage is all over, and people throw reports out. There'll be bullshit reports. There'll be airplanes, like you said. There'll be drones, clear drones. There'll be things that aren't drones. There'll be reports of a down drone, right? But it's hearsay, right? Never a direct source. There's definitely some things that have happened that seem covered up quickly. Quick responses, dude. People are seeing they're posting pictures of all sorts of strange military trucks driving through here, AWACS flying over, all sorts of. I hear them at night. Like I know different airplanes, the sounds, because we're so used to it. And military jets, how they sound. You hear them from a long time away and a long time after they pass, right? And they're loud. They rumble the whole world, right? You'll hear them. They're up there, on and off. So, as far as me being able to answer whether somebody's actually caught one of these things, I can't. But it appears as if nobody has been told if there has.
Okay, that makes sense. Urban, did you say something? I didn't know if you got.
I just some thoughts. I mean, I was going to say something that we have to do is we're going to have to look around for little subtle changes in the balance of everything, and it has to happen on a local level. I don't know if local governments will be privy to this at all. Maybe one or two influential members of the main municipalities, the main power centers, local government, maybe like the highest ranking one or two, they'll maybe have a little glimpse of information on what's going on. But that right there, if you're hearing military aircrafts, you're seeing strange happenings. That right there is just a major clue that something's going on. But I think right now, and a good amount of time, they're going to have to run just a little bit of a mystery campaign, because when you start a mystery and there are questions that nobody can answer, That's one of the first stages to a hypnosis, is that you could set up a question that the mind desires an answer for. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what they
and
do. Everything they
exactly,
do. All they do.
exactly. So really, I think we should look for those steps of hypnosis. And I don't mean, stage hypnosis. I mean like hypnotherapy. So, it's a short way to put it is you focus the human attention on something, and then you introduce a moment of shock, and kind of when the person's disoriented within the mind, you could slip in your solution. And that's they call it Hegelian dialectic. That's another
Yeah, problem,
phrase for it.
reaction, solution.
Yes. And I think we need to watch for those stages, and probably next, after a period of mystique and mystery where nobody knows what's going on, they're going to bring in something to shock us, something just shocking, like
Dude,
a 9/11 shocking
Dude.
type event.
yeah, didn't I? I wrote this to you, right? In the private message. Remember, I said exactly this.
Yeah.
This is. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Would you?
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
Bro, I've been trying to, it didn't make sense. This has been my life for 20, 25, I don't even know how long. This has been my entire life. I've always been looking, right? I've never been not. So, I've been trying to understand what's going on, and all sources. I'll say it here because I could say it to you people, but I seem to be a bit clairsentient. I've been told. I know that.
Awesome.
Very empathic, and I talk. I have guides. I believe they're higher versions of myself, but there's other things out there, right? So it's a very wide, encompassing gaze that is always ever present whenever I'm trying to understand what's going on. When I first saw these drones, it's confusing, it's weird, and you're like, what the fuck? But it's not alien tech. It's not there harming people that we could feel and see. So what happened is, I believe that everything you said, I feel like we are in those stages already. I feel like the drones themselves have been left up there as a good old mystery, and people can speculate and grow wild ideas, and all sorts of truth can be convoluted. Meanwhile, it seems that these drones are the kind of drone that they would be sending up to search for radiation. And whether or not they are performing that task, I don't personally know. But within that wide scope of me looking and researching and watching remote viewers and using my intuition to find out the truth, right? It led me to people who were saying this was coming. Even Cliff High and the Future Forecasting Group and Dick Algeier and all these people. So there's an event coming, and I've known this. Anyone who's been on this path and has felt this in their heart knows what's coming, and we feel like a shoe's about to drop. We know this is the moment. Kali Yuga's gone, right? We're somewhere new. There needs to be a catalyst. There has to be an event. I believe that there's going to be. I don't even want to say this because it sucks. It feels bad in my heart to say it, right? But it feels like they need something to blow up. They need a mass event, 9/11 times, whatever you want to call it. And they're setting the stage. It appears to be they're setting a stage for government accountability for people to say, oh, this is another reason you could have protected us. You knew that every single story you could possibly want, they could possibly want is within this or able to come out of this. And I think that there may be something coming very soon. Like I said,
when you're done.
Yeah, no. Well, go ahead.
Well, I don't even remember what it was that made me. There was something I saw yesterday, and it was a post on 4chan, but I had retweeted it because it was very interesting. And obviously, I don't claim this to be what's going to happen, but it's a very interesting possibility. Let's see. I wonder if should I share my screen and just let everyone see this, because I'll read it.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that tweet. Let's take a look at that tweet, man. And then what I want to bring up too is because
actually
both you and I, Urban, and Sean too, we saw that the drones are supposedly, according to some sources, that the drones were looking for nuclear material, and they were shooting some kind of mist down at the ground. The MSM was real quick. The mainstream media was real quick to come in and try and fact check that. So what does that lead me to believe? And I'm sure it leads all of you to believe that if they were that quick to come in and fact check it, there must be something to it. But yes, Urban, let's see what you're about to bring up here, man.
Okay, let's see if I can. Here we go.
Yep. Once you do it, I'll just add it. Yep. Here you go.
Okay. All right, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, man.
So it says the next false flag will be centered on the premise of malicious interdiction of nuclear source materials. And there was you and I had talked about it. There supposedly was nuclear material that just went missing, disappeared into thin air. But it will not only involve a nuclear, or it will not involve a nuclear device or a nuclear detonation, but rather a radiological threat. Nuclear source materials will be deliberately leaked to target areas to inflict severe injuries through radiation exposure. The real number of casualties as a result of these attacks will remain very low. The purpose is to create a new method of restricting freedom of movement and new policies that will enable the government to continue its expansion of power. The media will display images of attack survivors who will have burns and lesions across their skin. Videos depicting overwhelmed triage centers with victims vomiting or otherwise unresponsive will be shared on social media. The threat of radiation exposure, an invisible enemy, will be used as the primary vector. So let me just skim through here, and I'm not going to read the whole entire thing. We can share it or something, but people can glance over it. Yeah, essentially, the gist of this post is that it won't be a actual attack or bombing. It will be this idea of just radiation, which is a very interesting idea, and I think that is a an interesting way to approach it.
I would agree. I agree.
Let's see.
I've seen several. I mean, that's probably the fourth thing like that I've seen, and it's either that or a bomb. You know what I mean? But it's coming out.
You know what's interesting, because, and this is something and this has to be the case at this point, because we're particularly looking at some kind of different unfolding of events. I even joke where it's potentially a different timeline, and the reason why I say that at this point is because if any of you guys have ever read the Three World Wars letter by Albert Pike, I've talked about it on this show quite a few times. For some of you who have not read it, Albert Pike is a 33rd degree Freemason, and he wrote a very detailed letter back in, I believe it was either 1886 to 1890.
It was 1877 or something like that.
I know it's
I'll pull it up. Actually, I got it.
Yeah, good dude. Thank you, because yes, thank you. And so if you guys have not read this letter, it was a letter that Albert Pike wrote depicting the unfolding of these three world wars that are going to lead to the New World Order. And now, mind you, this letter was written in awesome, dude.
1871.
You are the best. 1871. So this letter was written in 1871 by this 33rd degree Freemason. And the first two world wars that he predicted these first two world wars with stunning accuracy. I mean, we can even kind of get, so the first world war must be brought in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia, and making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergencies caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy other governments in order to weaken the religions. And then we have the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. So here's the Third World War, guys, which is this, we're looking at this, and we could, at least in my opinion, we could see aspects of this playing out at this point in time.
It's that the whole thing was to culminate in the state of Israel.
Exactly.
That was the plan. And Bill Cooper, who wrote Behold a Pale Horse, and I think is one of the most reliable sources of information. And before Bill Cooper, there was Myron Fagan, who referenced this letter in his 1967. He published this recording on vinyl record, and he had read the same exact thing. He said it was cataloged in the British Museum, but it has since disappeared. They don't have it in the catalog anymore. But what I'm thinking is, they seems like they would have had it back then, and then once his information got out there, they did away with it, which is what I would do. If I was at the British Museum and somebody, I'd just get rid of the letter. That's just the playbook that you're going by. But the whole idea, and Bill Cooper says it. I've even got a clip of Bill Cooper. If you want me to play it, he'll say it himself. You want me to play it?
Yes, please, dude, because it's been a while since I've seen some good Bill Cooper, man.
It's
and
just
that's
a real
honestly
short reel, but still.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's the thing, man. A lot of people, they give Alex Jones the credit, like all of this credit for being like, the conspiracy king. Exactly. But dude, everybody forgets about Bill Cooper. Like, Bill Cooper was one of the only people, right?
There we go. You got to bring me back up, I think.
Yeah. Here, let's watch this, and then I'll continue what I was saying. He's one of the only people who destroyed the government's plausible deniability, and that's why he was killed. But let's go. Let's check this out.
Can you hear it?
You got to turn up the volume just a little bit, my friend.
Can you hear it?
Try now. No, I don't hear it, unfortunately.
I guess okay. Let me try this one more time. Video file. Never mind. I could just instead of share my screen, I'll just do a video file. Here we go.
There we go. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know it had that feature. There you go.
Yeah, I know.
What role in the Middle East again does Israel play in this?
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that will be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity in a one world government.
Right.
Oh, man. Sean, real quick, I want to get some input from you, man. So what do you think about all this? And have you heard of the Albert Pike 3 World Wars letter?
Oh, bro. Yeah. All of this is, I've seen hundreds of times. And let's keep in mind that when this awesome man was speaking, he was speaking at a different moment in time, and that things have changed and things unfold, and we can't predict the future because the future is, you know what I mean? It doesn't quite work like that. So, but I absolutely do believe everything he said was on point, and of course the guy knows, right? And that's clearly what they're working up to, right? Some sort of giant mess, I think that's coming. I don't think it's going to be it's not going to destroy humanity, but it's going to change humanity forever. But I think so much more than just conflict, or at least that type of conflict, is involved with this. I really believe that this is part of the awakening, right? So. And we've signed up for some shit, dude. So, and I mean, if you're asking me specifically about these, these things and Albert Pike and their plans, yes, absolutely. They've been trying to, these are just messengers of one certain aspect of this massive plan that we've seen coming at us, for hundreds of years, right? Some of us have seen. So yeah, that's absolutely what they're doing. I just don't think they're the ones who are in control anymore. And I mean, they never really have been, as far as I'm concerned. It's us. It's what we give. And I think that's what's really changing. And it's people are changing. It's going to take a horrible event can, open up hearts pretty quickly, and sobriety comes quick too. And everyone's in a fucking daze. They've been in a daze, and it's just gotten worse. We all know that. We see what is culture, the collective trance that we participate in. But it's being broken. All the markers that we have for what reality is are being taken from us. False reality, this bullshit fucking matrix reality. It's going. It doesn't have the legs to stand up. And I think part of that has to do with the changes within us and what we see, not just in the outside world, but within ourselves. You see as far into the world as you see into yourself, right? So you deal with your shit, or your shit deals with you, and we haven't been dealing with our shit, And humanity seems to have signed up for a dark night of the soul, collectively. And those of us who are lucky enough to have gone through those moments consciously and aware of what it is and step up, level up, right? We will experience it a bit differently. We're having these conversations now because we're aware of these things already, because it's a part of what we are. And that's going to be a part of what everybody is soon. So I think I went off on a tangent, but these plans are happening. But I think they're fucking up. And I don't think they are going the way that they had wanted it to go. And I think they're panicking. And I think we're going to see chaos. We're going to see horror. And out of a lot of that, we'll find, humanity will refine itself and we'll build a new world. But we're going to go through some shit. Fubar, right? That's a great
I absolutely
word.
Agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, man.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing too, like you were saying. There is a surgence and awakening going through our collective, most certainly. And then, there's very true aspects of it. And I think, some people are kind of still caught in the shock of the surface level announcements when it comes to everything that's occurring at this point in time. But no, you're absolutely right. I've seen in a lot of ways what it seems to be that they are. That's why I've been calling them the powers that were, or the parasite class. I don't really call them the elites, really anymore, because they're not. But it almost seems like we're grasping at straws now. And I mean, even just the incident that Urban brought up, where they're talking about leaking. Guys, when I heard about leaking radioactive material into population centers, that is a horrible and brutal thing to do to somebody, man. You know what I mean? Radiation poisoning is not a fun thing. I've never experienced it, but I've seen things about it. And, so nonetheless, it is, man. And one thing I think you'll like, Sean, if you ever get time, it's an older documentary. It's called Kymatica.
Oh yeah, dude! I used to watch that.
You've seen Kymatica? Okay, perfect.
Well, I used to know Ben Joseph Stewart. What?
Right.
Ben Stewart? Yeah.
Yep.
I was a part of We Are Change, so we were with all these people. This was like what we watched. There was no Netflix. There were DVDs that we pressed and passed out. So Kymatica was something I watched probably 150 times and gave to 150 people. You know what I mean?
Bro, We Are Change, Colorado. That's awesome.
We Are changing New York.
Yeah. That's
7
awesome.
years, bro.
Yeah.
Ground zero every Saturday for like 5-6 years, bro. Luke, everybody, like, it was a family. It was cool,
dude. I'm telling you, man. So no, that's awesome to hear that. But no, that it essentially lined up what you said. Like, yes, it is ultimately we are in power. We are the ones in power during this, and we have been. It's that we have allowed ourselves, even if it has been at a subconscious level, to be stripped of that sovereignty. And that was like the principle of Kymatica. Like, yes, there is a government that is corrupt, it is very occult, and it does take advantage of us. But ultimately, when we look at us, we are the many, they are the few. And and that's kind of what you reminded me of as you were bringing that up. And it is, man, I almost see like this grasping at straws at this point in time. And I do think we are going to see an event. I agree with that. I don't know what the event is. I don't know what day it's going to happen. I definitely can't say that. The one thing
got something to add there.
I'm sitting
let me hear it. Yeah. Let me hear it.
Bill Cooper, whom we just watched, Bill Cooper. One of the things I remember absolutely him saying, because it was brilliant, whenever they pull the trigger, it'll be on a holiday.
Dude.
Man, it's
what he said.
Well, what else would you expect from these? You know what I mean? Like, this is what they do. This is their business, is carnage and horror and pain and confusion. You know what I mean? So
everyone's defenses are the lowest on a holiday.
That's the truth. And it's the saddest way to it's horrible.
Well, what's interesting? I don't know if you two ever caught like the new X-Files season that came out.
I've never seen it, and that's very surprising, but I've never seen it.
There's a scene in the new X-Files season, and I believe it came out, what was it, back in, that would have been like late 2010s, 2020. I think that but there was a scene in there, and it's funny because they said they were talking about this event that's going to occur, and they basically said it's going to happen on the Friday. There's going to be a run on the banks on this Friday, and there's going to be nuclear material strategically placed in different areas of different city centers across the United States, and they're going to make it look like somebody else did it. They're going to make it look like it was a
Iran.
terrorist
Of
attack.
course,
Yep, like
of course.
if it
They
was
want a war.
Iran
They
or if
want
it was
the
China
war.
or Russia. Yes, yes. So and that was also the other pivotal thing that kind of they threw in there that kind of relates to what we're talking about in this show tonight is this guy takes Mulder into a underground like vault area where there's an alien replica vehicle, and it looks like a TR-3B. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the TR-3Bs or
Yeah, the
the
triangles, right?
potential alien replica vehicles that they have. And he goes, yeah, this is this was technology back engineered from the Roswell craft. We have to keep it hidden though, because if we were to release it, it would destroy the oil companies. And this was like, the very first thing one of the first things they said in the season. So like, we see these hints of, we have Bill Cooper talking about this, and we see these, we can call them hints of predictive programming. We can call it whatever it is throughout these different shows. And, to me, I mean, I agree with the both of you. I think, but what I think is going to be coming into play is something that Sean said. The people who have done the work and the people who have had these realizations and these remembrances and have gained the awareness throughout the years, and are going to be having a way completely different experience than the people that have not. And this is where I think when we talk about one man's heaven is another man's hell, we look at perspective of the experience too. I mean, we can even use the last election kind of as a good analogy for this too, because there are literally people who think we are in Armageddon because Trump got elected. And, there are people who are celebrating in the streets and thinking we're in a new golden age because Trump got elected. So perspective is everything, man. And you kind of summed that up really good. So that's why I think that, we are going to go through this event. I know a lot of people think that, that potentially, I think, one of the biggest things that I've always felt is, yes, while a lot of us might be doing the work, we're still going to be watching this. It's still going to be going down before us.
I'm at ground zero, buddy. I'm right here.
I mean, dude, the fact that, you're sitting here talking to us tonight, somebody who's experienced this, who has seen them, definitely solidifies a lot of stuff for us, because, the first thing like I was saying, the first thing a lot of us do when we see this, we're like, okay, what's going on? But now that we have somebody who's actually seen them in front of us, that's awesome. Now we can start talking, potentially, why they're doing this and what's going on. I mean, I it's very possible too. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies. I think a few of them have gotten debunked by my friend Ryder Lee over at Raised by Giants. But, we've apparently been working with extraterrestrials and extraterrestrial intelligence for a long time. The U.S. government, I mean, they talk about the Eisenhower incident where, Eisenhower apparently met with two groups of extraterrestrials. One was a group that looked human like us. And then there was another group that were the Greys, that he apparently made a deal with in exchange for technology so they could abduct us and do experiments on us. I know there's been, there's been I mean, some of the stuff about that has been debunked. I think there's certain things, because my friend Ryder Lee, he's really big. I mean, he's really big into the UFO stuff too, and he does a lot of stuff on it. But I do think there is something there 100%, because whether or not they could be extraterrestrial or they could be interdimensional of some kind.
Are we talking about the drones or what we
I was
see in
gonna
the
say-
skies and call UFOs? Which one are we talking about? Drones or
Here's something
UFOs?
interesting.
Well, I was bringing up how, like, since we're on the topic, how it's been speculated that these different entities have been working with our government. It's possible that these entities could be working with our government to facilitate this experience as well. So, like, these potentially negatives. Urban, what were you going to say?
So, just an interesting side note there. This having been President Eisenhower, who was the one to first do this, I discovered very recently that there is a person, I think her name's Laura Eisenhower, on Twitter, who
Yeah.
claims
yeah,
to be
yeah.
the granddaughter or great granddaughter of Eisenhower. Now, it's the internet, so I don't take that for 100%, but it seems okay. It seems right
She's
to
good.
me. And you don't hear anyone in any documentaries and any history textbook. Nobody knows about whatever happened to Eisenhower's family. I've never heard about his descendants. I've never heard about his brother, his sister. What happened to
point.
them? Why? So, and they his granddaughter on Twitter is very spiritually in tune with the great beyond, you could say. I mean, I don't know exactly what she believes, but I know that she is very spiritual in that sense. So you never know. Maybe there was something, but I think we all put this image in our heads of, oh, Eisenhower met with aliens. I think we put this image in our heads, but it may be more subtle and more outside of the box than people think it
Absolutely,
is.
absolutely,
Oh, I agree with that.
absolutely. It could be
I agree
any.
with
It could be all of the above.
Oh yeah,
They
no,
gave
totally,
us
man.
the technology, in my opinion, I'm speculating here. I think the technology, if aliens, extra dimensional entities, whatever, gave us this technology, I think really what it is that they gave us this technology and said, here, implement this. Because by implementing that technology, the internet and computers and this technological revolution we've seen in the last 50 years, I think that is how they are going to feed off of us. I think it's through the technology that they've given us, and that's
I
why
think,
they've
yeah,
given it to us.
absolutely. I think they have been feeding off us. Just
It's
stare
much
into
more
your phone
subtle.
for a little bit and just pour yourself into that block fucking box, dude. It's
Yeah.
absolutely been going on.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing you two are gonna appreciate. I'm gonna see if I can get him on a show with you, Urban. I don't think I don't know what he would probably do it, but I know a guy. I'm not gonna name his name. But I've had him on the show before, back with Ryder. But he apparently is a descendant of one of these 13 bloodlines, and he was born in. And I remember him telling me a story that in 1984, he was taken to this base, this Air Force base, and he was handed something, a tablet that was almost identical back in 1984 to the tablets that we use today. So kind of letting credence to what you guys are saying here, based on this man's experience. What you're saying could very well be the case. One of the things I've noticed when it comes to these implementations of these things is they always have to do things over a slow drawn out method.
Oh yeah,
because if they implement this stuff too quick, everybody starts asking questions
It's
at
the
that
frog
point.
boiling. You ever heard that analogy?
Yep, the fraud. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know where I first heard that, Urban? Al Gore.
Really?
Freaking Al Gore.
they
That's
also
funny.
have. Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. No.
No, they
I was
also
gonna
have
say
to keep.
I'm super serial right now, is what I was gonna say. But go ahead. Yeah, I'm super serial.
I'm super serial. I was just gonna say they have to maintain the illusion of progress on the terms that we've been shown is right.
Yeah.
So we could have, the right. They put out all these inventions that are just great for humanity, but we could have been fucking flying to Mars probably 100 years ago. Like there's Tesla, all the tech, the energy tech, the tech that probably built the megaliths that are also in Jersey. Like I'm talking about stones the size of houses balanced perfectly on three, like a tripod. So I mean, I'm saying like there's so much out there, but obviously they're keeping it for themselves to keep their power and control, and that's all it's ever been. But I do believe that I honest to God, with all that I've ever looked at and everything that's ever pointed me in a certain direction, that there is extraterrestrial influence and always has been, or at least for recorded history over humanity, by whatever you want to call these beings, whatever they look like, whatever they are. They're not good. They're not nice. They're mean. To put it, mildly, we've heard stories. We've seen, we know what's been going on, and it's coming out. But I also think that what we're seeing is the other side to that, because I don't believe that we are simply just apes that sprung up. I don't have any problem with that. I don't, any attachments to any sort of decision about where my body originated in history. But the point is, there's far more to the story, and we've seen little bits and pieces pop out, and more, I believe, is going to come out. And I think this is the year where a lot more than we, even us, have expected to come. Revelations, the revealing, the lifting of the veil, and they're here, dude. I'm watching them fly over the house. I saw a fucking a violet light, the most beautiful glow. Like when you hear people talk about crazy lights from craft, dude, just sink into the trees. Maybe less than a quarter mile from me, and I swear to God, it was for me to see, because I was out there. I'm like, show me something, right? So I'm saying, like, it's there, and I believe that they're coming, and this is a soft disclosure, and that presents a lot of problems for the control system, right? So as we lose our money, as we lose the fiat currency, as whatever happens, and the funding for all these black ops and all the the shadow government, the governments within our government, these craft that we see, that we hear about, that may or may not have been recovered from alien tech or given to us, right? This is all in jeopardy. They don't have their money flow coming in. They won't soon. And there's like Cliff High was talking about. This is a contentious time. So as they battle, these factions, families battle for power. Who gets to steer the ship, into the fucking iceberg? But in the end, I believe we're coming out on top. But I think we're gonna find a lot this year comes out about our origins, the human origin, and
that I'm looking forward to.
What's been going on here? You know what I mean? It's gonna be wild.
I'm looking forward to.
It's gonna be crazy.
Dude, that's one thing I'm passionate about, man. I've said this on the show many times. The human origin story, our true origins. Yeah. That is something I will find out before I die. I'm determined.
Oh, you're gonna find it. You might find it out in 4 months or 5, 6, 7, 8 months.
Fucking A, man. That would be the best. Dude, you kind of schooled me on something though tonight, Sean. I didn't know New Jersey had megaliths, so I actually went and pulled up a photo of the New Jersey megaliths. I have it here on Google Lens, man. This is one of them though, the ones you were talking about though, that has the
that's actually not it. That's dope though. Where's that?
That's not it. So this one is
that's probably Jersey, like across the ocean Jersey.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me go back here. Hold on. Let me see here. So I got New Jersey megaliths.
New Jersey Tripod Rock.
Tripod Rock. Let me look that up. New Jersey Tripod Rock. Yeah, so that's but I'm with you, man, because if we do find out about, here we go. I got it right here. Tripod Rock.
I climbed up that, bro. You can't tell how big that is. And there's one and it's perfectly aligned north to south. You could find that in the woods. Like this is a very developed state, right? Any not developed land is watershed or state park, or you'll find these everywhere, bro. And one thing you'll also find here is these walls that you'll find all over the northeast of the United States. These walls they found something like 250,000 miles of these walls that were there before the natives, which they said themselves. All sorts of strange construction. Like this was an extension of Atlantis or something wild. Who knows? But this is everywhere, bro. It's everywhere.
Dude, since you brought up Atlantis, I'm gonna run this theory by you because I do think that this could be what's happening. This could be the case. What if we're on top of Atlantis right now? And that's one thing I've been kind of bringing. Everybody talks about why we can't find Atlantis. Some people think it was at a different time, a different frequency, and I mean, of course, I'm not debating that. That's all a possibility when we're talking about this topic. But that's kind of one thing I do borrow from Graham Hancock. I mean, what about the Americas? What about the Americas? Well, there's a lot of things here that we have pyramids, we have mounts, we have just like you were saying, these walls that were discovered, that were, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you said they were built before the natives.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said.
Exactly.
They said they were there before we got here, is what they said.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. So what if we're on top of it right now? That's always been kind of one thing I've always played with, because, what if Atlantis is the Americas? And I mean, what we're doing is we're reliving this in some kind of strange way.
We could be.
Yeah. You look at the mounds, you look at all the different pyramids, that especially in the Amazon too. I think they took a LiDAR tech to the Amazon. And they found all of these very big pyramids, then these cities that are covered by trees and things like that. So I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, it could be the case. I don't know. But the one thing I do know for sure is that if we do learn about our human origins in 4 months, I'm going to be pretty happy about that.
I don't know
man.
if I just said 4 months because it was exciting, but you know,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
telling
no.
you, this year,
I'm
a
with you.
lot is coming out, bro.
I can feel that. Urban, what are your thoughts right now, man? I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think that we're potentially looking at even bigger unveilings in 2025? I mean, I think so too. I think a lot of us do. And I mean, like I said, 2024 has almost been like a conspiracy gold mine. We had a lot of things kind of come up. I mean, now it's even coming out that Trump's potentially a practicing master Kabbalist.
He is. I mean, I could prove that.
Totally.
No, and that's why I brought it up, Urban, because
Yeah.
you've definitely.
Well, there's a picture of Trump in his office or something, and there's something on the wall of, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there's something on the wall in the back behind Trump of it. It's like he's got a Kabbalist teacher or something like that. Trump's name in gematria is 424, but this has been very subtly hidden because Trump, I don't believe Trump is technically his last name. His last name is Drumpf, Drumpf.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe I'm wrong, but
You're right.
if you go to the Times of Israel, they have published an article and they play ignorant. They say, oh, well, his close inner circle said his gematria is 424, but that's not correct because Donald Trump is not 424. And I was thinking outside the box and I was playing with it and I said, let's try Drumpf, and sure as shit, 424, which is the same as Messiah, son of David. And his inner circle, I don't remember the guy's name, Lev Parnas or something. I don't know who that guy is really, but he's Jewish. And he says to Trump doesn't say anything, but he says, Mr. President, since you're Jewish. So, and then I've got another recording of Trump saying, I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. So
I remember that one.
Bro, the whole assassination, the killing of the king ritual, that was the most ritualistic event I've ever yeah, I could curse, right? I've been cursing this entire time.
Dude, have at it.
Dude,
Yes,
it was so fucking blatant, dude. You watch it, you see the crowd. It should be instant. And what was it? Ula Damagard, people call him Ole. Ula Damagard put together a very good piece about that entire event, and then somebody else did too, who knows more about the religious aspect of it. But absolutely, this man. I mean, and look at, he's surrounded by Israel itself. It's
you know what? I'm gonna put this up just because I think this is the icing on the cake right here. Let's see if I got the picture right here. The icing on the cake is that I believe that Trump is actually the product of the Babylon working ritual.
Urban, I was going to say, don't you have a photo of him signing his name as Donald Trump too? If I remember,
oh yeah,
I think
just go to Wikipedia and look at his official signature. That's his official signature.
We're gonna look that up. Ooh,
look at that.
I think he is.
It's
the lips. It's the eyes.
Dude, you know, it's funny because it was going around for a while that Rogan was the reincarnation of Crowley. That was a theory that surfaced very briefly.
I don't believe it's possible. Anyone who could do math should know that's not possible.
I know, but it was funny because I mean, you look at them, they look but when you they look slightly similar, but when you kind of hold this,
you need to look at LaVey and Tate.
Andrew
Tate. No, Anton LaVey and Andrew Tate.
I thought you were talking about Taylor Swift. Dude,
I'm looking that up right now. Hold on. I gotta look this up.
I saw something earlier. I think maybe their gematria and their names might be similar. I haven't checked to verify it yet. So maybe that would just be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it?
Holy shit, dude! He kind of
look at the ears.
Hold on, this couple of these photos especially. Hold on, let me pull one of these.
Yeah,
up.
Here I'll stop.
No, you're all good, man. Hold on, I gotta pull. There's a couple of these photos where here. Let me pull this one out on Lens real quick. I'll share it over here. But nah, man. And so there's one. There's also another one. That I honestly think to be the case. So actually, what's funny, Urban, is the Lion showed me this. So do you know who Pascal Najati is, right?
sounds familiar, but I
he's the supposed head of the Space Force. He's on Rumble. But if you look at Dodi, I think it's Dodi Faraya, the Princess Diana's boyfriend that died in the car crash with her.
Dodi
If you
Fayed,
look, yeah, if you look at him and Pascal Najadi like next together, at minimum they're related. People are claiming that Pascal is Dodi. I mean, we can look at that, but no, just looking at this right here, Anton LaVey, that kind of pose, because we've seen Tate do that pose.
I
a
wouldn't
little
even
bit.
picked up on that actually.
Is that a Masonic pose? Isn't that not a Masonic
Yeah,
pose though?
Listen, hold up. I hear
Which
people
pose
saying,
are we talking about?
I sit. Have you not noticed? I sit here and do this. I'm not. It's just because that's easy. Rest my hands on my belly. You know, I got a little bit of weight on me. I just rest my hands on my belly.
We know you're not a
I'm
Mason, bro. It's
I
all
bet. I don't. I'm just saying. People be like, people lose their mind over it. Like, man, you're reaching a little bit.
It's like I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna hold my hands like this. I'm gonna go. I know the widow's son, and then that's apparently what you're supposed to do.
That's correct.
If you're in court,
that.
Yep. If you're in court and you're a Mason and the judge is a Mason, and you're supposed to do that in order to let the judge know that you are also a
You
Mason.
could stand a certain way. You could
Yeah,
stand with your feet like this.
Yeah,
And then I believe one is like that.
Yep.
So no, most certainly, man. But no, even just looking at that, man, it's, a lot of that stuff's very interesting. But I'm gonna bring it up real quick because to me it's uncanny. Let's look at Dodi and let's look at Pascal
Yeah,
real
I'm interested
quick.
to see this because I've not heard of this guy.
So Pascal Najadi. So let's look up Pascal Najadi, right? So this is him. I'm going to bring up his photo real quick. So he does a podcast on Rumble too. But he is the supposed head of the Space Force, or that's what he claims to be. So this is Pascal Najadi here. Get a good look at him. Let me see if I could zoom in just a little bit for you guys too, so you can get kind of like a good look there. All right, so that's Pascal Najadi, right? So let's look up Dodi now. So here we go. Let me go here. Let me just X out and do a new tab real quick. But yeah, no, they're claiming that these two are the same people. So you just saw Pascal. Here's a photo of Dodi. Right? This one I believe, because at minimum, they're fucking related. So look at Dodi here. Here's two photos of him, and you just saw the photo of Pascal. At minimum, they're related.
What's his name?
Pascal Najadi. Look him up real quick, man, because there's all of these a lot of these people think that they go into these witness protection programs and then they come out as these different people.
I found an older picture of Pascal, and the older picture, it really does. Yeah, it really does.
Dude, I'm telling you that at minimum they're related. That's the best thing I can throw out with that. So that's an interesting rabbit hole the Lion brought up to me. And but no, because of what you were saying about Tate and LaVey, but even that photo of LaVey that we looked at, dude, like how many times have we seen Andrew Tate sitting there like this with his hands crossed like this in a video?
The top G, bro. The top G.
See, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what people
go ahead.
People don't understand, and it is very interesting, and I think that is what LaVey's task was. And I was talking to other people about this the other day. The idea is that if I say, hey man, these people are Satanists, they're like, no, that's not what Satanism is. Okay, they're talking about the Church of Satan, the LaVey psyop. No, what I mean is things that are so messed up. There's no other word that applies to these deeds than satanic. That's what I mean. And I've come to realize recently that what the true term is Mahonism. I've got an article on it.
Yeah.
Mahonism. And it's this idea that you keep your secrets, you perfect your little secret scam that you run. So if you need to kill people to make money, you and your little Freemason secret society, we took an oath to protect each other's secrets. You guys perfect your little scam that you run on people. If you got to kill them to make money, and insurance scam, coroner scam, funeral home scam. If you and your little club, your little cult, keep your little secret and you screw people over to get money. That's what Mahonism is, and that's satanic in my book.
I
Absolutely.
believe it might overlap a bit. I don't know. The term Luciferianism and Satanism seem to be two different things, and I'm not the
They
one to
are.
talk about it.
They
But
absolutely are.
does this also not fall under Luciferianism and that?
It does, because essentially it all goes back to this idea that you think that your mind and the product of your, so for instance, if I am smart enough to come up with a scam and kill these people to make some money, the justification is usually if I don't do it, somebody else will.
Dude, that's all they say.
That's
what they say.
humanism. It's called humanism, Luciferianism.
Mhm.
It's the belief that the human mind is capable of no wrong, to elevate the human mind to God level status. But it's also this idea of, like I said, if I don't do it, somebody else will, or business is just business. It's nothing personal. That's humanism.
Do you
That
remember?
is so-
Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
No, you're all good, man. No.
Right.
What I was going to say too. This even brings up. I think you and I have talked about this before, but there's even that theory surfacing about that right now it's the Malachians versus the Luciferians.
Yes, that's what I hear a lot.
I've
Yes.
never heard of this before.
So
Well,
what is?
It's like the
the-
child sacrificing
Oh.
sick fucks that we would
Yeah,
know.
yeah, so, like,
as the
the-
Malachians.
The Malachians are like the old world order, and people like Elon, Trump, and all of that are on the Luciferian side,
Because they're
and then
transhumanist.
transhumanists. Yep. And
Yeah.
so there's been a battle or something between them, or a struggle for power that's been going on. I actually just heard about this like 6 months ago. I don't know a whole lot about it,
I'll
but I
look
did
into
want to
it.
bring it up. Yeah, it's very interesting. But what were you going to say, Sean? Sorry about that.
No, I was just gonna say, well, speaking about the mindset of Luciferianism, but if you've seen Freedom to Fascism, Aaron Russo put out about the Federal Reserve, you have, yeah?
No, I
So
haven't. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, dude, it's an excellent movie.
There's
before
so
he
much I
passed away.
haven't seen. Yeah, I'll have to look at it.
It's a good one, man. It's a really good one. I made my parents watch it. That didn't go so well. They
Really?
forgot in about a week.
Good
But,
for you, though, dude. Good for you.
Bro, I've been
you made
bro,
an attempt.
my mom watches Rachel Maddow like it's God speaking to her directly. But the point was, though, so he put out a DVD with the director's cut, and at the end of it, there was an interview he had. He was talking about speaking with one of the Rockefellers that Lawrence, I don't remember which one he was friends with. Well, acquaintance friends, buddies with, but not close. And he was telling him, he was like, look, Aaron, there's going to be this event. He was talking about September 11th, and I believe he literally,
I remember this.
Exactly. They're going to be looking through caves. They're going to be trying to find, and he's like, and Aaron's like, why, Aaron, a human being with a beautiful heart. He's like, why would you? He's like, the Rockefeller said to him, he's like, well, why would you worry about your own family? Like, that's nothing. It's all about gain. Your own little clan is all you have to worry about. Exactly. So, I mean, that's the mentality.
It's an interesting dilemma. I'll admit that. Let me go ahead and just let me finish what I was going to say, because I got off track a little bit.
Go ahead.
Back to the LaVey and Tate idea. LaVey was put in to misdirect this idea of Satanism. I feel like if you went back 100 years ago before that crap came out, I say they're Satanists, they would know what I meant, no problem. But now the waters have been muddied and they've made it romanticized. But the core of it all, magic, Crowley's magic, it's very akin to, for instance, a con man. A charismatic person, somebody who can get up on a stage and work a crowd. That's real magic. A magic show,
that's Donald
kids
Trump.
magic. Exactly. A kid's magic show, it works based on illusion. And the trick doesn't necessarily have to be advanced. It just has to fool you and allow you to suspend the disbelief. And that's what real magic is. That's what, for instance, if you go back to lately, I've been on this kick of Latin proverbs because they're very profound sometimes. But there's a reason that magic spells were traditionally in Latin, was because quid Latine dictum sed altum videtur. That which is said in Latin seems profound. If I say something in Latin to you, it just seems profound. It seems like it's got truth in it. So it's that knocks you off your feet and just kind of makes you whimsical for a minute. That's how it works. So back to Andrew Tate. is Andrew Tate practicing a form of magic? Sure, he's great at
Well,
charming
absolutely.
these young men. I don't understand it because, and this is sad, truthfully, this is very sad, but the word misogynist has lost all of its power. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Because if I say Andrew Tate, he is a misogynist. He just doesn't like women. You know, people are going to say, "Oh, misogynist," like, "Oh, that guy because he's wearing a pink shirt, he's a misogynist." Like people, it's just they've desensitized, they've nullified all these words. But back to the traditional dictionary definition, Andrew Tate just he really doesn't like women. I don't know if he does it for a reason, if he's just been wronged, but he just doesn't. But at the same time, I'm surprised at the people that I've seen going down that path just because Andrew Tate says some of the right things. It's just enough sweetness mixed with shit to make the medicine go down. That's what it is. Just enough truth.
And you got NLP going on. You got all sorts of suggestiveness and hints and people that are attracted to him. Honestly, how many of them understand their own psychology to begin with, right? Or they're going to him for more clarity. But you know,
women have a lot of issues that they have to deal with in this modern society. And it has impacted dating, but men do too. So I'm not saying it's an unlevel playing field. But the issue is that men who have been through some bad relationships and women who have problems that they need to deal with and work on and better themselves, he has taken that and he has taken those people who have been harmed by women emotionally and just been through bad relationships, and he has ripped them down this path. And now they're, I guess they call, what do they call them? Black pilled or red pilled or something. Some of these people,
it's hardcore male red. So when we talk, the red pilled has like a few different variations to it. You know, we talk about red pilled when, you know, we take the red pill and we exit the matrix, you know, we leave the societal Maya. But when it's coming to the whole dating scene like that,
it's different. Yeah.
Being red pilled means like, you know, like kind of, it's the entertainment mentality. It's like being, then you have the MGTOW, the men going their own way. That all like kind of evolved from that too.
So much of this that we're seeing is reduction in linguistic ability. It's because people,
oh my God, dude.
People have stopped at this wall where everything's about sex now. Sex. You got to have sex, but then after it's done, drop them, doesn't matter. It's like capturing a picture book. And people are desperate for something deeper. They're desperate to go past the wall, something further, but they don't have the linguistic ability to express themselves anymore.
No, or the concepts, or the ability to understand the concepts, or even the availability to notice that it's there in the first place. But it's division. It's all division. It's divide and conquer. You divide humanity. You divide men and women.
There's more than division, though. I've got the formula that I've worked on. There's division, projection, deception, and direction. Those are the four principles that they've got. Some supervillain scholars, two of them, division and projection. Those two were Herbert Marcuse and Theodore Adorno, who were Frankfurt School communists, and their students still run the social justice movements. You've got Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who literally wrote a book called Propaganda. He was the deceiver. He's implemented this way to deceive the public. And one final that I've added was Kurt Lewin, who I haven't studied fully yet, but he was the one that essentially said you could apply direction to this process. You could weave a story around it and a group dynamic around it to push people in a direction. So division, projection, deception, and direction. Those are the 4.
100%.
And you brought up a really good point, Urban. You know, we are as far as what real magic is, because we see a lot of these magicians, such as Trump, such as Tate, you know, basically, like you said, using almost that Latin flair, even though they're not. I'd love to see the Latin language under a simoscope. Now that you kind of brought that up, that's definitely something that's intriguing to me. Because you know when we look at these
origin of the
languages,
meaning of the sound, right? You look at exactly. It's the meaning that we've lost that.
Dude. I'd love to see Latin under a simoscope, man. But no, Urban brought up a very good point. We are dealing with some magic, and we are dealing with some kind of hypnosis. You know, I might have said cognitive dissonance back in 2016, but at the rate things have exponentially expanded and have gotten bigger, no, it is. It's almost like we're having these magicians, like you were saying, the Mahanism, they're taking care of their own cult, fuck everybody else. And I know that's where how Masters of Mahan got the name for that podcast.
Yeah.
And
It's a Mormon term, by the way. It is a Mormon term which has its roots in Freemasonry.
Well, yeah, because you remember when I had Heidi Love on the channel, she basically, for a lack of better words, with hard evidence, proved that Mormonism is Freemasonry.
It is pretty much Freemasonry.
And so no, I mean, a lot of valid points here, man. It's we're dealing with a very strange world, and this, especially with Trump potentially, he is a Kabbalist. We see.
There's three basic ideas behind, and again, a magic spell. Again, and that is what Disney has done brilliantly. I heard Tex Mars had a guest on one of his radio shows I was listening to. I have an archive of them. He said Disney, Freemasonry, and Kabbalism are the foundations of everything. It all goes together. Disney, Freemasonry, and Kabbalism. And it's because Disney has done such a brilliant job at making, and it does. If I say magic, you think of Disney. You think of little wands and sparkles.
Fantasia, buddy. Fantasia.
There you go. Fantasia. Absolutely. Now, the idea is that spells function on word plays, linguistic manipulation. I know what I mean by these words. You don't. When I say these words, it means a little bit of extra, but when you hear me say those words, you don't know really what I mean. Double meanings. Orwell talked about double think and stuff like that. Second is repetition and circular reasoning. So circular reasoning, this thing is right because it's good. This thing is good because it's right. That's circular reasoning. And repetition is the most basic form of mind control. It works with dogs, cats, any animal almost. It's called conditioning. Repetition is the most basic form of mind control.
And the final, and they do. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely. And the final step is what I had said earlier: reinforcement with partial real-world truth. There has to be enough truth in what you're saying for the person listening to suspend their disbelief, to allow themselves to believe something that's obviously not true. That's where your con man comes in. Somebody who's a smooth talker, whose words are like butter. They just talk, used car salesman, that type of thing. That's where it comes in.
Donald J. Trump.
And you just described, you also just described revelation of the method and karmic retribution to a degree with that also, man, because that's what they do. So that, I mean, you have to think that's when we talk about this parasite class, these powers that were, they have to get us to use our own free will also too, in this sense of manifestation for the magic that they're doing. So what they do is they take, kind of like what Urban was saying, is they take that half truth and they frame it into what they want to get you to believe, because that's the thing. We do it for them. I mean, guys, look at COVID. Did the government have to come into the streets and police us? No. Who policed us? Our very own people. They are the ones.
Our TV, social media.
Exactly. A lot of our own collective circles were policing us, and that's kind of what they do. So, I mean, like you said, you brought up a very valid point with the, using the double speak or using the half truth, because that is also karmic retribution and revelation of the method. That's how they get us.
Here's a perfect example. After the Patriot Act was passed, it gave the government this ability to upstream all of the data, all of it. They bring it all up because they got to check all of it to find the people that they're looking for, but they bring it all up. The NSA, the CIA. But how do we consent to giving that data to them? Well, they sell us, meaning we pay them money for our smartphones, our smart Alexa speakers, the Ring doorbells. We pay them money, and thus we consent to being spied on. But you get all these nice benefits. I mean, you can wake up and you can talk to your alarm clock. So there's just enough benefit to it all that will swallow the shit that they're always spying on us. but we've paid them money and thus we've consented to being spied on.
Oh,
We give it
100%,
away.
man. They use our free will against us, and that's the
Indeed.
biggest thing. That's the biggest game, because we look at the free will principle. We supposedly cannot have our free will impeded upon here. If that does happen, there's a lot of speculation to what would happen after that. It would get
That's a
corrected, but
deep
nonetheless,
question. That's a very
it
deep
is.
question.
It's
But
a
it's
very
not-
deep question.
It's also a nice clue as to what kind of power we actually have, and how much it takes to keep God dreaming a bad dream, to say, and maybe in another way. You know what I mean? Because it
100%.
requires our permission, it requires our energy, and we are the ones that build this prison, but it starts inside us, right? Why does it take that much effort to keep us down? You know what I mean? And this giant masterful plan, the great work of the ages, fuck it, by the way, it's not going to happen. But yeah, like it's us. It's us.
Well, they know that our engagement and our focus is what keeps this going. Why do you think? Go ahead. What were you going to say, Urban?
Just real quick, I said there's one thing that everyone agrees on. Very rare that everyone agrees on something. It's that everyone agrees that free will exists.
Oh, it does. That's
But that's
weird, isn't
interesting
it?
because that's the middle point. That's the one thing that everyone has to agree with. I don't think
It's that last inch that they can't take from you, right? It's that last bit, and it's where we start and begin.
You look at existential philosophy. We are a free agent in our world to execute our own destiny and our own free will.
Mm-hmm.
That's what existentialism is. So, it's definitely
it's the revelation of duality, though.
Revelation of duality. Also,
it's that just whatever duality is. If there's black, there has to also be white, because black means there's some. If black exists, so that means there must be a such thing as not black, which is white. Absence of light and a presence of light. So it's this idea that if good is going to exist, good can't exist without bad to define it. It's like a magnet can't exist without both positive and negative ends. So it's this idea that there has to be free will. And to a certain extent, I think that's the Garden of Eden story. That's the reason that I believe that an all-powerful, omnipotent, omnipresent God had to have created Satan with purpose. With purpose, because he knew that he was going to play the negative role. And at the end of the day, that's the question that I can't really resolve in myself, is that the people who do this evil in the world, what they believe at the end of the day, if they've reached the highest peak of this entire thing, is they believe that they were appointed the destiny to play the negative option.
Absolutely.
That's what they believe.
But honestly, that fits right into it all, doesn't it? It might be an ugly way to look at things, but the higher you go, the plateaus you reach, and then you reach further, you come to these conclusions. You find that we're all God, right? We're all God, all of us. You know what I mean?
It's all God.
So what does that mean for now? How do we address each other? What do we see in each other? So yes, they are playing this role, and there's no excuse for it's also our role to stand up to it, right?
Yeah.
It's also our role to set boundaries and be strong and be what we actually naturally are. So it's a big game, and it's an ugly game that I'm not quite sure I agree is necessary. But we find ourselves here, right?
Yeah.
So while we're here, this is the way we need to understand it. We need to understand it in its totality in order to escape, which is not escape. You got to go through. The only way out.
I agree with you, man. The only way out is in on that for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, dude, this was awesome. I had a fantastic time.
Every time I get on here with you guys, the time disappears. It
I
disappears.
know.
I can keep going, bro. I'm tired as hell, but I can go for another couple hours. Yeah.
Hey, man. If I did not have to be up for work tomorrow, I 100% would, dude. Yeah, man. But guys, honestly, amazing conversation. It was a great night. I feel this was an awesome way to end. It would be the last live episode of season 2 for my show.
Let me finish off with one thing.
Yeah, go right ahead, man.
Believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Live your life by that. Now, at least more than ever. Only half of what you see. There's always another side to every story. No matter what, there's always another side to every story.
Dude, I love it. And I'm gonna kind of add in on that, and then we'll have Sean add in. Have no attachment with what you see in the news or, what people are telling you, because you never know. It could not be true. Be sovereign and have discernment, guys. That's all I can leave you guys with at this point. And Sean, what would you like to leave everybody with?
That, what you just said, it's discernment. We all have to discover where the truth actually is, and that's inside us. You know what I mean? We most people have no barometer, no way to understand what truth is. They need, so we're being returned to that moment of looking at it fully and being that. Just open your fucking heart and
You
be
will know the
real,
truth.
be honest. Yes.
And it'll set you free. And
Yeah, the truth will set you free, but it might suck a little bit, right? But it's coming. It's there.
It builds
Follow the
character,
path.
though, man. It builds character.
It builds character. Absolutely.
It builds
Fire
character.
tests gold. Fire tests gold. But you will know the truth and it will set you free. Thus, the truth is that which sets you free.
Absolutely, man. And what is it set? What is the last one? If it is going to be destroyed by the truth, then let it be
Deserves to
destroyed.
be. And yeah, you're right. I go ahead and say that also love is the currency of that truth itself.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you just definitely resonated with me on that one. So, guys, again, real quick, I have Urban's. I have his Facebook and his X. But the one thing I want to show you guys, because I remember the first time we had Urban on this show, I forgot what was going on, but I didn't get a chance to post his links. I replied to somebody who commented on the video. But guys, so on Urban's Facebook, on Urban's Facebook, if you want to do that, man, I got you at your bio.link, Urban Official.
Awesome.
You can find that. He will add that to the end of the description, because Urban has been helping me out with my videos, and I super appreciate him.
Sean, send me your information, and I'll put it in the description too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, and definitely, Sean. Let's get So we have Urban's Facebook, we have his X, and on his Facebook and his X, you will find his link with.
I just publish everything I find. Every ebook that I find, I upload it. I publish it.
Nice. Dude.
I can find almost anything if I have enough time.
I could spend hours on there, bro. That's beautiful.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna tell you this, and I said this on the last show, and I'm not joking, dude. Urban, I'm gonna tell you what. I feel, knowing that you're around, man, if I ever need to leave this earth, I can leave it in peace, because freaking,
that's pretty kind.
How good, man, dude. You're the youngest guy I've talked to who's been on the wavelength and who has been so in depth. And dude, that's what I mean. I have faith in you, bro. I do, man. So that's why, since I met you, man, I know if something happened to me, I could go in fucking peace, because I know you'd be here holding it down, bro. Like, I appreciate serious,
that. Man. No, that's probably one of the kindest things that I've been told at the end of the day.
Yep.
Well, bro, dude, you do a lot for everybody, man, and you deserve that kindness, my friend. But yeah, dude. So I'm telling you, check out Urban, guys. If you liked him on the show, I got both his links. He's gonna add that. Sean, where can we find you? I know we can find you on Facebook, but if you have any,
I need to do something now. I don't know what my role is, buddy, but it's about to start. So you'll hear more from me. I don't know where to point you right now.
Stay in touch, and we'll get you.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Hell yeah.
Add Urban, man, on Facebook, man. He's in my mutual friends. You can find him under Official Urban. And guys. So if you guys don't mind hanging out for just a sec, I have some closing thoughts, and we'll chat for a second after we go off air.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks, man. All right, guys. So as you note, this is going to be the last show of season 3. Season 2. Sorry. I'm going to be present for. So you guys will be having 2 pre-recorded episodes. I have kind of a Christmas special that's going to be airing on the 24th of December. I'm probably going to air it a little earlier in the day, so you guys can have time with your families during the Christmas holiday. And then I have my season 2 finale with my good friend and also a fan of the show, Francis McDunn, which will be airing on January 2nd. So guys, I have something I want to say. I want to thank all of you. Like, dead ass serious. I want to thank everybody. This has been a wonderful ride these past 2 years. I cannot wait to start a 3rd year with all of you. This is something amazing. And I have a lot of stuff in store for you guys for season 3. I'm making my break into public speaking next year, potentially running for a local office next year. I'm trying to take this to the next level. And I also want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you to all of the guests that have been here during this season. I wouldn't change this and I wouldn't trade this for anything, And one of the things that this show has done, it has showed me that there are some really true down-home human beings in this world. We're not alone, you guys. Don't forget that. And on top of that, also, I learned so much about myself. I learned a lot about you. And I know that we all have what it takes to change this. We do. We just have to make the realization, guys, that we can't do it alone. We can't do it in factions. We're going to have to do it together. So, guys, much love. I will see you guys January 8th for the beginning of season 3 for Corey Hughes. He will be coming on. And other than that, guys, you enjoy your holidays. Much love, everybody. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful evening. It was nice to do this with you guys again for another year.